America is in the middle of one of the biggest trade wars in history. President Trump has imposed massive new tariffs on over 80 countries worldwide, and the effects are being felt by every single American, immigrant, and business in the country. Prices are rising, businesses are struggling, and the world economy is shifting. Today we explain everything. What are these tariffs? Why are they happening? How do they affect your life? And what can you do to protect yourself? Stay till the end. This is the most important economic story of 2026. First, what exactly is a tariff? A tariff is simply a tax on imported goods. When America puts a tariff on products from another country, the American companies importing those products must pay extra money to the government. This extra cost almost always gets passed directly to consumers, meaning you pay more at the store. Tariffs are one of America's oldest economic tools. But the scale of what's happening in 2026 is truly unprecedented in modern history. Here is the complete timeline of what has happened. Earlier in 2026, Trump imposed a 10% global tariff on almost all imports. Then on July 24, 2026, new Section 301 tariffs replaced these, with different rates for different countries. India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Canada, Mexico, and the UK all face a 10% tariff. Other countries face 12.5% tariffs. And most dramatically, on July 20th, Trump imposed an additional 50% tariff on a wide range of Canadian goods, from cement to wine to hockey sticks. Why is Trump doing this? The stated reasons are clear. America has been running massive trade deficits for decades, meaning America buys far more from other countries than it sells to them. Trump believes tariffs will force companies to manufacture in America, bring back factory jobs, and reduce dependence on foreign goods. He also argues that other countries have been taking advantage of America's open markets for too long without giving equal access in return. But economists and businesses have serious concerns. When America raises tariffs, other countries retaliate with their own tariffs on American exports, hurting American farmers, manufacturers, and exporters. Small businesses are filing lawsuits arguing these tariffs are unconstitutional and devastating. The Tax Foundation estimates these tariffs will cost American households an average of $1,200 to $2,500 per year in higher prices. And critics argue tariffs create inflation, making everything more expensive for ordinary Americans. Here is the real impact on your daily life. Electronics like phones and laptops are getting more expensive because most are made in China and other tariff countries. Clothing prices are rising because most American fashion is manufactured in Bangladesh, Vietnam, and Cambodia. Car prices are increasing because auto parts come from Mexico and Canada. Even food prices are affected. Fruits, vegetables, and coffee from tariff countries cost more at your local grocery store. For immigrants in America, the impact is particularly significant. Higher prices mean your money goes less far, making it harder to save, send money home, or invest in your future. Industries that employ many immigrants, construction, hospitality, and agriculture, are being heavily affected by tariffs on imported materials and food products. And in a cruel irony, the goods most affected by tariffs are often the everyday products that working-class and immigrant families rely on most. For the large Indian community in America, and for India itself, the new tariffs are significant. India now faces a 10% tariff on all goods exported to USA. India's major exports to America, pharmaceuticals, textiles, machinery, and IT services, are all affected. India has responded by negotiating with the U.S. for better terms. For Indian Americans sending products or money home, or for businesses operating between both countries, these tariff changes require careful planning and adjustment. America's closest neighbor, Canada, is getting hit particularly hard. On top of existing tariffs, Trump imposed an additional 50% tariff on a huge range of Canadian goods on July 20th, 2026, effective August 19th. This covers everything from cement used in construction to wine to hockey equipment. Canada and USA share the world's longest border and have been each other's biggest trading partners for decades. This escalation represents an extraordinary shift in one of the world's most important trade relationships. Not everything is conflict. There is actually a positive development with Europe. The European Union and the United States reached a trade deal that went into effect on July 1st, 2026. The EU Parliament approved it, all EU member states ratified it, and both sides implemented their commitments on schedule. This deal reduces some tariffs between the US and EU, showing that negotiated trade agreements can work when both sides commit seriously to the process. America's small businesses are not accepting these tariffs quietly. Hundreds of small businesses have filed lawsuits against the Trump administration's tariffs, arguing they are unconstitutional because they were imposed using emergency powers that were never intended for long-term trade policy. Many small business owners say the tariffs are threatening to put them out of business, unable to absorb the sudden massive increase in the cost of imported materials and products they rely on. The jobs picture is complicated. Some manufacturing jobs are returning to America as companies move production from tariff countries back to the U.S., exactly what Trump intended. But other industries that depend on imported materials, construction, retail, and food processing, are seeing job losses and reduced hours. Economists are deeply divided on whether tariffs create more jobs than they destroy. The real impact on employment will become clearer over the next 12 to 24 months. The stock market has reacted with extreme volatility to the tariff announcements. Every new tariff announcement sends markets tumbling as investors worry about reduced corporate profits and slowing economic growth. However, corporate profits actually reached a new high in the first quarter of 2026, suggesting that at least for now, large companies are managing to absorb or pass on tariff costs. But analysts warn that if tariffs remain high for years, the long-term economic damage could be very significant. Here is practical advice to protect yourself from tariff effects. Number 1. Buy American-made products when possible. They are not subject to tariffs. Number 2. Buy essential items like electronics now before prices rise further. Number 3. Compare prices carefully and use cashback apps to save money. Number 4. Grow some of your own food if possible. Even herbs and vegetables in a small garden help. Number 5. Review your budget and identify where you can cut spending on imported goods. Being proactive now will save you significant money. For business owners, the tariff landscape requires immediate strategic action. First, audit your supply chain and identify all products and materials coming from tariff countries. Second, explore alternative suppliers from countries with lower or zero tariffs. Third, consult a trade attorney to understand how tariff exemptions might apply to your specific products. Fourth, pass costs gradually rather than all at once to retain customers. Fifth, explore domestic suppliers even if they cost more initially. The certainty may be worth the premium. What happens next? There are several possible outcomes. Best case, countries negotiate deals with America like the EU did, reducing tariffs through agreement. This would stabilize prices and restore business confidence. Worst case, more countries retaliate with their own tariffs on American goods, escalating into a full global trade war that could trigger a recession. Most likely outcome, a mixed picture, with some countries reaching deals and others continuing in tariff conflict for years. The situation remains extremely fluid and changes literally week by week. What is the long-term impact on America? Some manufacturing is genuinely returning, particularly in semiconductors, electric vehicles, and steel. America is becoming more self-sufficient in strategic industries, which has real national security benefits. But Americans will pay higher prices for consumer goods for years to come. Global relationships are being fundamentally reshaped, and the dollar's role as world reserve currency, which depends partly on stable global trade, faces new questions. This is a generational reshaping of how America engages with the global economy. If you are an immigrant in America, here is what you must know. First, your job may be affected if you work in industries heavily dependent on imported goods or materials. Second, sending money home to your family may cost more as exchange rates fluctuate due to trade tensions. Third, if you own a small business, review your costs immediately and consult a business advisor. Fourth, stay informed about changes because the tariff situation is changing rapidly. Fifth, Connect with your local immigrant business community. Shared information and collective action can help everyone navigate these challenges together. Where can you get help navigating the tariff situation? The U.S. Small Business Administration website, SBA.gov, has free resources for businesses affected by tariffs. The U.S. Trade Representative website, USTR.gov, has the complete and updated list of all tariffs and exemptions. For businesses, consider joining your local Chamber of Commerce. They are actively advocating for tariff relief. For personal budgeting help, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau website at consumerfinance.gov has free financial planning tools and resources. America's tariff war is the biggest economic story of 2026, and it affects every single person living in or connected to the United States. Whether you are a consumer, worker, business owner, or immigrant, understanding what is happening gives you the power to make smarter decisions and protect yourself and your family. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay connected to InfoSphere X for the latest updates on this rapidly evolving story. Like this video, subscribe, and share with everyone who needs to understand what is happening in America right now.